Hey guys, what's up? It's Nicole with Smith Outpost, and today I have with me the brand new MSI Claw. I am super excited to be giving you an overview today of the MSI Claw. I have been waiting for this to come out. When I found out that MSI was coming out with a handheld gaming device, I was super excited. I'm typically an MSI fan, just because the products that I have typically gotten from MSI are very good quality. And so I was super excited when I heard they were coming out with a handheld gaming device to compete with things like the ROG Ally. So I was shopping at my local electronics store and I saw it sitting on the shelf and I quickly walked over there, snatched it, and paid for it and took it home. So this device that I have here with me today, of course, is the Claw. It was $700, guys, which is not an inexpensive purchase when it comes to a handheld gaming device. So just be aware that you are putting an investment into this MSI handheld because it does have a $700 price tag for the model that we purchased. The width on this one is 11.57 inches. So it is a pretty good sized handheld. The height is only about 0.83 inches, and then the length on this is 4.60 inches. The weight is only about 1.49 pounds, so it's not super heavy. It feels pretty good in my hand, so not super heavy. I think that there's not going to be a lot of fatigue, especially if you're resting your arms when you're playing. Um, I think that my favorite feature, of course, again, is that it has that Windows 11 Home. It has more of a PC vibe to it. When it comes to gaming, you can run pretty much anything you want. You can run your Steam library, you can run your Xbox Cloud. You can pretty much run any game that you would typically play on your gaming PC at home. So that's really nice. It does run that Windows 11 Home. So all your configurations and everything that you're already used to inside of Windows is going to go ahead and carry over into the MSI Claw. The processor on this one, guys, not too shabby. It's the Intel Core Ultra 5, and that does process at 4.6 gigahertz, so not too bad for a handheld gaming device. It does have that 512 gig solid state drive in this one as well, just because I felt like I'm the type of gamer that I play a game, I finish the game, and then I typically uninstall the game, so I didn't feel like I needed a super large solid state drive for me, just because that is the type of gamer I am, especially on my handheld consoles. I pretty much play it, get rid of it. If I want to play it again, I reinstall it. So it's not for everybody if you don't want the 512. I totally get it. This one does have 16 gigs of RAM as well. And the graphics card, again, not too shabby. It went with the Intel Arc graphics card. So far, graphics aren't too bad when I'm loading up a game. I've played a couple games so far. I've only had this one for about 2 days now, guys. So I will come back again in 1 to 2 weeks and I'll give you a more complete review of how I feel like it compares to some of the other handheld gaming devices that we've already done reviews on. The display on this one, not too bad. Again, it's going to have a 7-inch display. So pretty good size screen for a handheld gaming device, and it is at 120 hertz for that refresh rate. It is completely touchscreen as well, which is nice. I like that it has the touchscreen features. And it is actually a little different as far as Wi-Fi. So this one is Wi-Fi ready for 7 already. So keep that in mind that when you're purchasing this one, it is already Wi-Fi 7 ready. So that's a nice feature that I think that MSI included, especially knowing that that technology is coming rather swiftly down the line here. It does have a nice ergonomic design. So when you're holding your grips and things like that, you've got your back buttons. It fits nicely in your hand. I think they could have maybe went a little bit deeper on the grasp. It does feel just a tiny bit awkward to me when I'm holding it in my hand. But overall, I'm still happy with the way that it feels because it does have that nice ergonomics to it. It does have the Hall effect for the triggers and the joysticks, and it has the RGB lights around those joysticks as well, and those are configurable. So if you want different colors or different synchronization, that is all configurable inside the MSI Center. The battery life on this is about 2 hours, which isn't awesome, but I think a lot of us, especially like if we're home and we're gaming on this, typically we're docking so that we can use more of a PC setup with a large screen and a keyboard and a mouse. But if you are mobile gaming and you're out, just be aware that you do only have about 2 hours of battery life if you're fully gaming. It does have some nice Cooler Boost Hyperflow technology, which was a good addition. It has quite a few fans, so you want to make sure that you don't block these upper returns, of course. So far, I haven't had a lot of heating issues. As you're holding it in your hand, you don't want it to heat up too much um, for for your hand. So far so good as far as heating is concerned because it does have that Hyperflow technology. It does have a Swift transfer as well, so it does support Thunderbolt, which is nice. So you would just plug in up here to your USB-C, and that of course will give you a faster transfer rate if you're transferring like screen recordings, for example, from your device over to your PC. So that was a good thought as well, I think, from MSI. Then it also uses the MSI AI engine as well. And that AI engine is going to do various system settings based off of what you're doing on the claw. And so what I mean by that is it's going to, if you're opening a game, for example, like Stumble Guy, since we play Stumble Guy quite a bit here on Outpost, is it tries to map the controls automatically using that MSI AI engine. So it's going to attempt to map the controls for what it thinks that the configuration settings should be. I will say I've had a little bit of trouble with it. So I think that the AI engine does need a little bit of work. I'm hoping that MSI will come up with some updates that will help mitigate some of those issues that I saw right off the bat. Honestly, when I unboxed it, guys, I had some issues with the setup. I'm pretty tech savvy, so I was able to overcome a lot of those issues pretty quickly. But just to name a couple of the issues that I had just when I initially booted up and started going through the Windows OS, I had an issue. So when the screen first loaded, the screen size was so small for the boxes that it needed to configure the Windows OS, you couldn't even read it. So I had to actually hop over to Google, go through some MSI troubleshooting because there's actually some zoom buttons here. So if you have that same issue when you're loading your Windows OS and setting up all your configurations, and all of a sudden your screen gets really tiny, you just need to hit one of the top toggles here. And that's actually going to zoom your screen back in to where it makes it more readable. So if you guys have that trouble, I hope you can take something from this video and just hit that right top button, and that should zoom your screen back in. The second problem that I started to have was when you're in the desktop mode, when you click in, for example, the Windows search field, or you type, or you actually select any type of a form field, for me, I expect it to work more like my phone where the keyboard automatically pops up. And when I initially loaded my device, it wasn't doing that at all. I had to actually go into the MSI controls, and every time I wanted to type into a field, I had to manually enable the keyboard, which was really irritating. So I did read on MSI that this is actually a known issue, and you can quickly fix that by holding down the power button for about 10 seconds. That will hard reboot your claw, and you need to hit the power button again, come back, reload your Windows OS, and that should fix the issue. However, I've had it intermittently. So keep that in mind, guys. Already out of the box, 2 days in, I've already had a few different issues, more related to the actual desktop portions of it, so the Windows OS side, than the actual gaming portions of the device. I do want to talk a little bit about the MSI Center M. So the MSI Center M is going to be basically your game library. So the MSI Center M is basically a quick way to navigate through your game library. It also has quite a few different configuration settings, such as your user scenario, for example, and that's going to go through more of your performance settings. So you can control fan speeds or your buttons here with the RGB lights. You can control all of that here within that MSI Center M. You can also get to all of your game libraries, and then you can also get to your Steam, your Xbox, your Epic Games, your EA, whatever it may be. It's going to add everything that you load to your device over here into the Center M so that you can quickly navigate to your games that you load on your device. I do think it's probably time, though, that we address the elephant in the room. So when I initially grabbed my MSI Claw out of the box and I held it in my hand, I took a look at it and I was like, man, this really looks like the Ally, right? I mean, you can really see the similarities between the Ally and the Claw. And I expect to have some similarities, obviously, when it comes to handheld gaming. You're going to need your joysticks, you're going to need your command buttons, you're going to need your D-pad. I understand that the similarities are going to be pretty close to the same, but to go with the same RGB lights around your joysticks and have just overall the same exact look, I thought was really kind of bold of MSI to do that since they're coming after the ROG Ally. I think that the one main difference is the texture of the actual console is this one is really smooth, which actually makes it kind of slick when you're holding it in your hands. The ROG Ally, of course, went with a little bit rougher texture, so it's not sliding around in your hand as much as something like the Claw. So far, the audio out of the Claw isn't too bad. As you can see in the videos that have been playing behind me, you can kind of see that there's two different ways that I'm showing it to you. I'm showing it to you in my hand, of course, and then I'm also showing you that screen record feature that is built into the MSI Claw, which is really nice that you can just enable it. It's native as part of the OS. It comes already installed, so you can do screen recordings and things like that, screenshots while you're playing your games, and so all of that is automatically built in. All right, guys, that is my overview so far of the MSI Claw. I'm going to give you guys a good solid week or two of me actually gaming on this device, and then I'm going to do a nice comparison between the MSI Claw and the ROG Ally. So make sure that you like and subscribe so that you can come back again and review the more in-depth details about the MSI Claw as I compare it more to the Asus ROG Ally.